Good morning, everyone. This is the VeeFriends Daily Comics and Coffee. I'm working on the daily comic strip here. I'm DJ Kaufman, cartoonist here at VeeFriends. Hang out for a little bit, draw some comics with me. Or not actually draw some comics with me. I'll be drawing the comics, but let's take a look at today's comic strip real quick. And we're going to see if I can't get the Instagram up and running. Of course. Let's see. Edits. One moment. I'm trying to get my Instagram running. Okay, trying to get the Instagram to go. It's not working, of course. For some reason, the Instagram Live just doesn't want to work. But I'm live on TikTok. We're live on TikTok. We're live on YouTube, X, LinkedIn, Facebook Live. Pretty much everywhere you could want to be live. We are live. Cool. Great. I'm going to try one more time. Going to try it one more time. Instagram, I'm not giving up on you. Get out of there. Thanks for your patience as I get this stream set up here. We're going to be drawing some comics today. Add channels. Instagram. VeeFriends. Instagram's got to get their stuff together. Slowing me down. Public. Let's go. Hope everyone's having a good morning. Good day. All right, let's see if that works. See. No. No Instagram. I tried. Unfortunately, it's just not quite there yet. We got to draw some comics. Let's get going. All right, so let's take a look at today's comic. If you've been following along, oh, there it goes. There goes Instagram Live finally. 5 minutes. 5 minutes in or something like that. 4-minute delay on Instagram Live. But hello, Instagram. Hello, Instagram. TikTok. I see you over there. Great. Got my chat set up. Could read today's comic together. That's what we're going to try to attempt. Hello over in YouTube land. Morning, Steph. Morning, VeeFriends, all of you. Good morning, Alex on X. Cool. All right, good. Got them all set up this time. Instagram Live's up. TikTok's up. It's a strange thing. We can talk about content a little bit today too. Doing these live streams is fun, but it's also, it could be challenging in the morning to get all this going at once. You got to get a lot of technical things going before we can get into the actual action here. So I'm about ready. Let's go. All right, great. So if you've been following along, we've had the story going for the week so far. So we're going to re-review that real quick. Let's see, where did it start? Hovercam Pro was coming out. 5555 fan was basically very like content or gear envious, let's say, wanting that so bad, can't stop thinking about it. Have you ever had that where you're like thinking about this new thing that came out and you're just kind of stalled, can't really make any new content because you're like thinking about that thing that you don't have? Content Condor is like, you're going to get it, no way, it's $1 billion. What's so special about it? It kind of follows you around. So Condor makes the joke, like me? And he's like, yeah, but it would make my work better. And Condor tells him, hey man, that's not true. You just need more time to practice your content. So 555 fans asking his fans if they agree or not. And then from there, yesterday we did now his friends are gathering money, pitching in. Authentic Anaconda, Content Condor. If you're new to VeeFriends, there's over 280 characters, and they all have different awesome traits to talk about, think about every day. You'll hear me thinking about the characters in a little bit here as I'm drawing them. They're raising money. They go to Generous Gerbil here. He's skeptical because he's like, why do you need this camera? Why is that a worthy cause, for his money bags? There. Morning, Dan, over on YouTube. Morning, Andrew on X. Who else we got? I'll try to catch up with the Instagram comments. Aloha from Hawaii. Mark in Hawaii. I wish I was there, man. I'm sure the weather's wonderful in Hawaii. Aloha, my friend. So yeah, they're sad because they don't think they're going to make the money. Cheer up, Anaconda. Because helping a friend is always a worthy cause. And then I like the coloring on this one. It's very gold coins. And he's just shocked. He's like, whoa. All right, cool. So that's where we are with that. And then today's comic that came out fresh. Thanks for supporting the comic, sharing it, commenting on it wherever you see it, especially Instagram. Thank you so much for all the great comments and sharing up the post. We're trying to story week this week, so this is an ongoing kind of plot happening. So now they've surprised 555 fan with the present snake. The snake was not necessary to draw in this panel, but I was just like, I gotta, have the characters in there. So he's like, wow, what is it? It's the new Hovercam Pro, guys. This cost $1 billion. Why'd you get this for me? Pretty happy with that panel. I like to change it up, I was telling one of the teammates yesterday, I think I was telling Carrie, one of my rules is I don't like characters just standing around. For instance, when I was drawing on stream Monday, I was like, I'm breaking my rule here just by having Condor just standing here looking like not saying anything, just standing. It's like, it's not a great, I must say, like, anytime I see comics doing that, it's not dynamic. You got to have them doing something. So, in this case, he's standing there, but he's like, yeah, whatever. Looking exciting. That's great. All right, cool. So yeah, they've surprised him, and they're saying basically like, of course we should have done this for you because you're always rooting for us. We just want to help you out. We want to hook you up. And 5555 fan says, I don't know how I could repay you. And Content Condor's like, hey man, just go make awesome content, right? And 555 fan thinks this is going to be a game. Now, spoiler alert, I'm going to start getting into the next comic here, so you're going to see a sneak peek of what's going to happen. So I'm just letting you know. If you don't want to be spoiled, you got to stop watching, but I appreciate you watching right now, so appreciate you being here. Well, I'm going to work on this next comic here in a second. We're starting with pencils. It's already written. So they're just kind of cruising along. Again, I put the snake in here. He's not saying anything, but he's got a nice little pose. He's kind of like scooting along, with them. They're on their way to make some content, apparently. And then at the very bottom, I added this at the end, which I just kind of wanted a way of like saying like cynical cat, like being like, is it really though? Is this really a game changer to get this camera? And like, let us know in the comments. So you can let me know right now if you want to drop a comment, nay or yes, nay or yay. If you don't know, that's cynical cat. That's optimistic otter. I was just missing them. They haven't been in the strip in a little while. We used to put them in like at least once a week. So, is that camera a game changer for him? Nay or yes? Drop it in. TikTok. I accidentally closed the chat on TikTok. I'm sorry. Good morning, Bobby. And good vibes. Thanks for joining the stream. JD just joined. Connor just joined. Israel just joined. Junie just joined. Hey, thanks for watching and popping in and out. I know it's different on TikTok. You're flying through that stream and, like we've stopped you here. This is VeeFriends. I'm just going to kick it off with real quick as we talk. Show the other camera view here too, so you can see on the other channels. VeeFriends is over 280 characters, created by Gary Vaynerchuk. I'm DJ Kaufman. I'm drawing the daily comic strip. You can go to VeeFriends.com and hit Comic Corner up there in the menu if you want to see all the comics. We've got a nice archive going here, all the old comics. So you can just jump right in. Also, when you want to explore the characters, like I said, they have different traits. So we have Ambitious Angel here. You can click her. You can click any of the characters on the site. Did I click it? There we go. Come on. You can learn a little bit about the character there. A little quote from the character. And you can see all the comics that she's tagged in if I've tagged her properly. Sometimes I may not have, but I'll get to it. We have apparel for all of the characters, so you can get your favorite VeeFriend. We also have a video of Gary V drawing the original drawing from version 1. It looks a little bit different than what we're drawing now, but there's a video of every single character being drawn. If you're into digital collectibles, we've got the NFTs and the digital collectibles. We got the series 2. You can see how many unique owners there are, like what kind of club you are. If you're a fan of this character, we talk a lot on the streams about the traits, being ambitious, like what we're going to talk about today. We're kind of in content mode. But yeah, that's the VeeFriends. We also have VeeFriends minis, so you can see that on the tip of my pencil. This is a bubblegum one. It's like the pretty standard one. It smells like bubblegum, but it's this one's Humble Hedgehog. So over on the website, there's also a map. You can find the vending machines in like pretty much almost every state now, I think, or something. I might speak a little out of turn here, but there's a map here. Find a store near you. You can find these vending machines. Great for your kids, but also adults, like I like to collect them. You can see here, there's like series 1 and 2 are out right now. And when they launch series 2 and 3 of these, no more. These are gone. So they're going to be like collectibles. So make sure you try to jam on those and get as many as you can now before they're gone. All right, cool. Let's jump into some comics. I'm warmed up now with all my hyping it up for the VeeFriends here. It's pretty satisfying to collect these little toppers, pencil toppers. They're also erasers, I found out yesterday. I don't want to really erase him though. I don't want to like rub his head on paper, but there we go. So all right, so I'm into the next storyline now. I've got it written here. You can't see the lettering for now, but that's a few days later. How's that new hover cam working for you? So I'm going to turn off that lettering just to kind of keep you. I don't want to spoil it too much. You're going to see me drawing out the characters here now. I think I'm going to stick with the red. Go back to the iPad only view. Oh, that's me. Hello. Can't see me on TikTok or whatever, but this is me. I'm having my coffee here and drawing some comics. Thanks for watching VeeFriends. If you're new to VeeFriends, hang out. Watch some comics. Chat it up. I'll check the chat. Like Only Soulmate says, wish you could partner with McDonald's or a cereal brand so we can get them that way, like Happy Meals and stuff. Yeah. That sounds like fun. VeeFriends Happy Meal with Cynical Cat. Let's draw Cynical Cat right now. Let's go. Now I'm a little warmed up. Do my it's only what, 8:49 a.m. here. Rest of the crew isn't even in the office yet, probably. Well, there's somebody. Tyler or May or Corso. You know. We work nonstop because it's not, I mean, it's fun. You know. Think about VeeFriends at night, in the morning. When I wake up, laying in bed, I'm like, don't be a cynical cat today. It's kind of like, hey. So like I said, when I'm drawing, I'm trying to make it, you know, interesting to look at least the expressions on the face. We also have animators that are be working on the comics, and you've probably seen a few things animated trickled here and there. We're doing a lot more. You'll see a lot more, you know, coming up with that, and really just getting started with VeeFriends in a lot of ways. So we've got a lot of things coming down the pipeline. Morning over on YouTube. Yeah, I used to love, speaking of Happy Meals. We're gonna switch over to real quick just to show you I don't know if I could do a hand view here. Oh, I can. Look at that. Great. These were Garfield mugs that came out from McDonald's in like what year? 1980. So I loved these mugs when I was a kid. And you could go collect them. They weren't necessarily in Happy Meal toys, but there's about 8 of these mugs or something like that. Well, there's a secret about these mugs, and I guess there's lead in this paint. So they had to. It wasn't on the inside of the mug, so you could technically drink from it, but I don't think kids got poisoned or anything like that. But yeah, there's my cat. There's the cynical cat. So it's funny because I got a couple of those mugs up there. It's just like nostalgia, you know. I didn't know that. I was like looking it up. I'm like, "Ooh, cool! I'm gonna drink from a Garfield mug every morning now." And then I read online. I'm like, it's like, don't drink from those mugs. Got lead in the paint. I'm like, dang. We don't want him to look surprised. We want him to look kind of skeptical. So we're gonna get in there and kind of like have him going like, There we go. Like, how's that new camera working out for you? Right? Someone was like, "Oh, don't drink from those mugs." Yeah, I'll stick to the regular old coffee mugs. Yeah, please don't drink out of those mugs. Corwin said, "Yeah, you paid like $1 for your meal to get them." Right. Now they cost like $20 or something, or $5, maybe $20 at vintage shows. what I want here is I definitely want I want his symbol, but I don't know. It's not important. I like the arms folded thing lately. Big fan of the folded arms. The skeptical stance. So if you see me drawing something, or you get spoiled with a comic, and then you see the comic online published in a couple, as especially as we move ahead, I might be working a couple weeks ahead pretty soon. Um, don't don't be afraid to just kind of comment and say like, "Hey, I watched him drawing that live," you know. You know, flex on him. Say like, "I watched it. I was there. I did that." Steph, I drank from those as well. I drank chocolate milk and whatever from those mugs. I was all right. It worked out. Worked out pretty good. All right, so we got cat here. I might be able to put part of his symbol. I don't like to cover up his symbol, but it's under there. He's just being skeptical. I'm gonna shrink him a little bit. I don't know. We'll mess with it a little. Figure this out. I think about these things way too much. Like, what size are the characters in relation to each other? You know. Probably bigger, actually. Let's just grab that. I'll have his face bigger. Kind of cut it off a little bit. There's a shelf in the front, in the foreground here. This will be a shelf. I don't want to have the hover cam in the very big front of the shelf here. So the idea is that, it's just kind of sitting there. Right. Yeah, I think we've aged out now from drinking out of those. Barry over on Instagram said, whether they're left-handed or right-handed mugs. I have a shadow here to kind of draw your eye to it. I kind of wanted to look. I'm talking out what they're saying here is kind of like he's kind of like grimacing and saying like, "Oh yeah, it's really great." So it's kind of like a sheepish, like nervous smile. Got kind of big eyes. Usually draw the ear on the 555 fan first. Five fan, we'll just call him 5 fan. Like, don't say the 4 5s when I say it out loud. I say 555 fan. I think a lot of people internally say that too. But it's 555 fan. 4 5 fan. Not really a fan of that jawline. Kind of soften it up a little bit. It's kind of like, I was talking to somebody else about it, and it's kind of like molding clay. You're molding the character a little bit. Sometimes you can spend a little too long if you're not liking the pose or the shape. Start to kind of overthink it a little bit. But in this stage, this is the rough, like the roughs are done, the writing is done. This is kind of just getting the pencils in line that I want to have. So I can move a little fast. And again, I just want to try to capture, at this stage, I kind of want to just capture an expression on their face. I'm also thinking about how can I keep, you know, most of the character in the panel, because they use, you know, we reuse some of the art for stickers and, you know, animations and whatnot. I want to make sure that it's a little easier. Now, I don't know. Okay, so here's the deal. This character that was supposed to be here was originally Honest Honeybee, kind of in the foreground. I think I'm going to stick with that. But last night I almost wanted to change him to Trusting Tarantula, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to stick with the plan. The plan was that it's Honest Honeybee, because right now 555 fan is not being honest. He's kind of telling a little. He's telling a little white lie there, right? By the way, while I have many of you here, if you have a favorite V friend, or you're a favorite V friend that you're currently vibing with, and you want to chat back and forth with me, we could talk about that. I'm always curious as to like what your favorite V friend is right now, and why you're vibing with them. So we're gonna have the bee right here. The bee is gonna be looking disappointed. We had Honest Honeybee last week, so I kind of want to do a thing where, you know, we don't just see a character and they disappear, because we've been at this for a little while now, you know, since January, and sometimes we're like really eager to like show all the characters, and then they don't show up again. Like we haven't seen Fearless Fairy or Ambitious Angel in a while. So I want to get back to like having them pop in more regularly, you know, on the topics that they're based on. So in this one, it's based on, you know, honesty. So he's going to be like hands on his hips, disappointed here at what he's hearing. This will be the Honest Honeybee. And again, I'm keeping other things in mind without, as far as like I want the comic to look good. But if I'm drawing this specific Honest Honeybee here, I'm trying to think of how it's going to be maybe repurposed by Corso or in the Discord chat, or, you know, if you're disappointed in one of your friends and you want to throw a sticker in there. Are you being honest, man? Something like that. We got yellow, we got black. You don't need to see both hands. Both hands can be on his hips. And then he's just got his little bee wings there. And again, I don't want to break that panel because I think it's going to be a fun little pose. So I'm trying to think of like, all right, I got to get the full wing in there, so it's a little easier to clip out. Maybe These bottom wings are just kind of hanging out down there. It also gives me a. People say, well, why don't you just, draw a bunch of characters and then just cut and paste them over and over again. And I think that's kind of boring, but it gives me more practice to learn to draw the characters over and over again. So, like, if I'm on a stream or he looks really disappointed right here. Mm-hmm. He does not like when you're. He's got the weird mustache antennas thing. Don't ask me. Gary put a big mustache antennas on this guy, so that's what we got. It's part of who he is now. He's got two antennas on top of his head. Like that. So we got Honest Honeybee looking a little disappointed. It's funny. Right. That's the situation there. Over on the trying to give you a little bit better view of TikTok. See what that looks like on the stream. That's okay. I'm not really worried about going. The rest of the stream can just be. You don't need to see my hands over on YouTube, do you? Sometimes people want to see the hands. Sometimes I don't know. I've got this down now, pretty pat, that I can go live whenever I want to. I think it would be kind of hard to do writing live, just because it's a little bit more of probably not the most interesting thing to watch, but maybe we'll do that sometime. I can kind of show you my process and stuff. Just not as fun to watch as drawing. I'm going to go ahead and hide his body behind this guy because I don't want to draw. Sometimes you can't do the full figures, so it's fine. There's a lot to illustrate in that. Let's see there, and he'll have a 5 on his chest. Don't want those lines to touch. Can't have any of that happening. Right. Lip. Thanks for watching over on Instagram. Glad I got that working today. Classic Craig, good morning over on TikTok. I'm getting hyped for VCon. Waiting to see when I can snag a ticket. I don't really know. Soonish? How's that for a vague answer? Very soon. You'll be able to snag a ticket. Get a ticket. I'm sure they'll do some I don't know. I don't even know. I'm not going to speak out of turn there. But I'm excited for VCon too. I don't have exact plans, but I'm only imagining what I want to do. I can tell you what I want to do at VCon. I want to draw some comics live there. I want to hang out with the VeeFriends in real life. I want to draw some things in real life for people. Surprise you. That's why I'm drawing this honeybee over and over again, so that when somebody pops up and is like, hey man, draw me that honeybee, I'll be like, I got you. And we'll just give you a quick sketch of honeybee. Then you can take it and you can frame it, get Gary to sign it, and then you could just sell it for $1 billion on eBay, and then just retire, buy an island, and I'm being clever. I'm not being real. But you never know. You never know. I think that I was listening to this fella, Mr. Squishy, yesterday. Let's see. Back to this view here. The toppers, the minis, VeeFriends minis. These things. I got a whole bunch right beside me here. I grabbed some of the bubblegum ones yesterday because then we got the detailed ones. Flex and Fox there. I was listening in on that vending stream yesterday for the vending machines, and Mr. Squishy, who's like the guy that makes them, he was really aligned with what I've had conversations with Gary about, like how cool VeeFriends is that you can, as an adult, you can think about the characters. You know, here we got Cynical Cat. I'm just gonna write his name in here. Why not? You don't say it enough. Cynical Cat. Honest Honeybee. So just thinking about the traits. Is a good way to talk to your kids if you have kids. It's a great way to, like, hey, let's talk about honesty. Like, what's a white lie mean? Like when you're telling your friends lies. But it's also good for adults. Like, I'm 48 years old and I'm thinking about times that I've, didn't want to tell my friends if they ask me a question and they're like, hey, how's it going? Or what's going on? And I'll be like, oh, it's going great. Or, yeah, I really like that thingy about me. And then I just didn't use it, or I didn't want to hurt their feelings, or I feel ungrateful. Like, that's kind of the vibe here. Like, so that I think about that in your life, right? And that's the cool thing about VeeFriends, is that you can. I also need like some spider webs, which is why I was going to change it into tarantula or a spider, but I didn't. But it needs like cobwebs on it. Like, he hasn't used it. That's the joke, or that's the plot twist. It's collecting dust. Even that, I don't know how I would draw dust, but probably just some like dander, something like that. But yeah, it's such a cool way of thinking about. Wow, that's deep, man. Only soulmates on TikTok says, gotta work, gotta rest, work 12-hour shift last night. If you're still there, I hope I'm answering your question in time. But one more thing, are any of the VeeFriends left-handed, or are all of the characters right-handed? We've never thought about that, as far as I know. I believe we have some lefties in the crew, the staff. So, I'm writing that down. This should be a character profile top. Right-handed, left-handed. Funny thing about left versus right, a lot of the artists I know that are left-handed are better artists. So I think they're using a different part of their brain for their art, how they approach art, compared to right-handed people. That's science. That's the truth. But all the left-handed artists I know of are more dynamic art to me. You have to think a little less, I think, about composition for some reason. The way the brain works. Fascinating. Isn't that weird? Totally true. There's a book called Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain that will teach anyone how to draw portraits. If you go read that book and go through the exercises, you'll be able to draw and paint portraits and things. It shows you how to like look at the world as an artist. If that makes sense. Okay, so we got Cynical Cat saying like, "Hey man, how's that camera going?" And he's like, "Oh, it's really great." And then Honest Honeybee's looking disappointed on here. And we're just gonna go ahead and just draw the pencil out the next kind of thing. The next sequence. I forget, what was I saying? Who were we talking to about? It might have even been Gary. They're having a conversation with Gary yesterday or Monday. And talking about resolution of like when something goes bad, or like characters are having when friends are having a situation where they're like resolving something, you can say you won't do something again, right? But it doesn't automatically make it that you're never going to do that thing again. Like maybe you ask your friends for like patience with you because you are an angry person, or you know, you're anxious, or you have these problems. Like just talking about things doesn't instantly fix a problem. I think that was his point. And basically asking your friends for patience with you. Like, hey, I'm going to try my best, but please be patient with me, because if I mess up again, you know, I'm afraid I'm going to mess up again, but I'm going to try my best to get better or work on a thing. Don't hold people to some kind of higher, you know, like you promised you would do better and now you didn't. And it's like things can be hard to change over time. It's not like an instant conversation and then you change something in your life. Like you got to be, you know, patient with your friends and ask for, and both patient with your friends and ask your friends for patience with you. Hey, I'm dealing with some stuff. I might seem a little down right now. Just be patient with me as I get through this moment in my life. Like just ask be honest with your friends and let them know that you're dealing with some stuff, you know? Like don't try to keep it all on yourself. Because I think that's the truth too. It just takes time. Things take time. It's really easy to tell someone like, don't lie. But some people don't even think that they're lying. They just think they're not hurting people's feelings or whatever. They had good intentions with the thing that they tried to do, and then they just fumbled. That's the majority of life. Sometimes you have the best intentions, but you know, you're gonna make mistakes. Hey, thanks, soulmate. Go get some rest after working that long shift. I'm glad you dig the comic. And VeeFriends. Classic Craig said, I think pea salad was one of his favorites. I know that's May's favorite over on our team. Checking your comments real quick. Got this pretty down now where I can just kind of, take a sip of coffee, sip some coffee here, look at your comments, couple people mentioned using Procreate. Indeed, I do all my comics in Procreate. Say 99% of all the artwork I do now is in Procreate on an iPad Pro. Abdullah says, without mistakes, no one learns or grows. That's right. That is correct. I need to learn how to. Megan says, oh, I lost it. Where was it? Where'd it go? I need to learn how to draw noses and expressions. Noses can be tricky. In our case, we got all kinds of noses, and over 280 characters. We've got regular noses, we got button noses, we got heart noses, we got no noses. He's like, oh man, I should have done that. Put a little darkness underneath his eyes there to kind of give the mood. We'll see how it looks in the ink stage. And I'll blow him up a little bit. I want to fill the panel as much as possible without, changing up the proportion of things. I think that's pretty much going to be when there's a large character that's talking to a small character. Because here now we're going to change the angle, and we're going to have this shelf over here. The bottom of the shelf. And the camera is going to be sitting on the shelf over here now. Spider webs, cobwebs. I might throw some books here. Now B's like in his face. Cool. Raging associations in the house. Hope to do art with the V family someday. Raging associations. What kind of art do you do? How did you reach up to this? How did I reach up to this? How did I get to this point? Yeah, I also run a drawing club, which isn't like really like a how to draw club, but it's more like a keep drawing, keep working drawing club. So that's the Draw or Die Club. And so I talk with artists all the time. Yesterday I got a comment on TikTok that was like, how do you break through art block? Well, and then I'm like one of those persons that's like, there's no such thing as writer's block or art block. It's more of like something that's going on internally as you're a human being and you have a brain. We all have the same kind of chemical makeup. So, what's really going on with artist block or writer's block? I really wanted to understand this. That's why I know so much about it now. But was that it takes you 20 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes to get warmed up, to get changed over, task switching. So, like, say for instance, you're doing laundry or chores, and then you're like, okay, now it's time to draw, or now it's time to write, be creative, and you're just not feeling it. You got to give it time. You got to give yourself 20 minutes to kind of get in there and sketch or write. The first couple minutes are going to suck, or they might not. You might be ready, fired up. But if you've been doing a bunch of mundane stuff that's not creative, meetings, work, life, laundry, cooking, dealing with other people's problems, then when you just jump into like, now it's time to be creative, it's not going to work. So you got to give it time for your brain to reset. And they've done studies where task switching takes about 20 minutes to get you into a flow. So you'll even see here, I've been live now for 51 minutes. I'm feeling that flow state in my mind where, I could probably stay on for hours, in the zone. So, keep that in mind, whether it might not be like, it could be a work project. You might not be creative, you might not feel creative, but like, just give yourself that time. That's magic. 20 minutes or so. Right? That's the secret. But I get that all the time. People will discover the stream and say like, man, I wish I could draw, or how do you break through artist block? Because you're obviously, at some points, and I'm doing it too, where you're not procrastinating, but you're kind of just like, you're wanting to do something, but you're out there watching content all the time, trying to get inspired, trying to get that groove, and you're only watching like little 5-minute, 3-minute videos, and you're not really doing your thing. You're psyching yourself up or something instead of just getting to it, because the getting to it is the hardest thing. Just sitting down and starting a thing and sticking it through for 20 minutes, and then before you know it, you're in the flow. That could be like tedious stuff too. You might be working on a spreadsheet or some boring thing, but once you're in it, you're like, all right, I'm gonna crush through this now for the next couple hours. Just like, I've crushed through the penciling of these two panels in 50 minutes or so. All right, that's a good question. Is Honeybee Italian or from Texas? Some people said France. He was giving off a France vibe, but I don't know. That handlebar mustache or something. Cool. Somebody asked how often I'm live. I go live Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays right now at 8:30 in the morning. 8:30. So I'm on live for about 90 minutes right now. Sometimes I'll be on for like 2 hours. Probably like today, I'll be on for 2 hours or so. And I Mondays is TikTok only for right now, but I don't see why we couldn't be on the other channels too. It's not that big of a deal to put it on. Thanks for popping in and out, Tatiana. Good morning over on TikTok. How are you, Ray? Guess we should enjoy TikTok while we can. I don't necessarily think it's going to go away, but you know, people thought MySpace wasn't going to go away. Yeah, Tatiana, love to start my day with art. I try to start every day drawing, even if I don't feel like it. If I'm grumpy in the morning, drag my butt over to the drawing board. Especially lately, I've been doing I do 7 a.m. streams. Okay, what do we got? Probably similar pose. So I'm just going to grab the composition here. Copy paste. What I want to have in the panel is very similar, but I can now zoom in a little bit, move this over. I'm going to ink it all differently just because the resolution and things have changed the expressions. Change these arms up. Maybe more like a so you lied? Yeah, once you really get into drawing and storytelling, sometimes the characters can kind of change their dialogue a little bit as you're working. They can kind of just give you a whole other thing that they're saying. Or I could say, like, I want him to be, like, more animated here. Like, so you lied? Because Honest Honeybee really doesn't like, people lying. Oops. Okay. There we go. What we got here on TikTok, Instagram. If you're new to this is VeeFriends. I'm DJ Kaufman. I'm drawing the daily comic strip for VeeFriends. This week we're doing kind of like a storyline kind of week. We've got a little plot here kind of going throughout the week, and it's not just like regular standard joke a day sort of thing. We'll get back to some of that too. Any advice to a mom who also has a teaching business and an autistic child who stopped making art and animations for time and money reasons? I have some parents of autistic children in the drawing club. I think my advice for that would be, because like when you're really busy, being honest with yourself, number one. So first, be kinder to yourself about your time is the first thing. But then, like I said, I think looking at your calendar and getting really serious about if you really want to draw or you really want to do a project, then you got to like really look at the calendar and go, okay, where can I steal back some time? and just put it in there and make yourself show up and do it. I know that sounds way easier to say than it is to do it, but um, but it's the only way, really. Okay. Getting back into it, I would say start small. Don't try and like jump into some big project. Just get a sketchbook or some kind of digital program and just do a little bit every day and have fun. Work on a skill. If you're like I can't draw hands, then maybe you'll just draw hands for 20 minutes. You know, don't worry about changing everything into content, but you might document your process if you're thinking about like tell your story. That's the other level. So if you're just doing it privately and you don't want to tell your story, then that's cool. Then just enjoy doing it. But you just said your story, which is pretty much you are a busy mom with an autistic child, a teaching business, and you want to make art. So remember that, like, what I tell my art friends is that we're all mirrors. And what I mean by that is that there's so many other people out there that are just like you. You stop making art for animation and animations for time and money reasons. So, like, that might be part of your story that you put into reels and such. And you're like saying, like, hey, here's what I'm doing. I'm going to work on my art 20 minutes every day and blog about it or something if you wanted to make it into content. Because then other art would inspire other artists out there to be like, you know what, I'm in that same situation. How do you do art when your day can be kind of full of surprises? You know, you don't know what you're going to deal with. It's challenging when you're dealing with challenges. How do you make art amongst challenges? Like, that could be a whole inspiring thing to talk about, you know. Hey, me Funko Pops rocking his VeeFriends hoodie today. Love the daily strips. Keep them coming. You got it. You got it. What else? Yeah, I would say if you haven't drawn in a while or you haven't made content in a while or anything like that, don't like stress out about, oh, I got to do this right or perfect or whatever. Just kind of just start a little bit at a time. You know, do the same thing right here as far as put a little head here. Oh, thanks, Tatiana. She said I'm the right person to ask. I don't know if I'm the right person to ask, but I'll tell you, I might not be correct. I might be wrong, but just from my experience, that's what I've seen. And know that it's not easy. It's like not easy. Like making anything out of nothing is not easy. But what an awesome thing. Like, that's the coolest thing to me, is that artists or creators can start with a blank canvas or a page and or a song, and you know, and then start from nothing and 20 minutes later have a masterpiece, you know, or something like that. That's cool. So anytime I'm feeling like burnout or or if that's creeping in. I don't really feel burnout much. Um, but anytime I'm feeling like, oh, I think about the next drawing that I make could help somebody in some situation. That seems cool. I can't really say that for like superhero comics. When I did like superhero comics, it was very much just like throwaway, media, like just escapism for the sake of escapism, which is nothing wrong with that. But when you have more of like a message to your comics or your work or your art or your music that means something to people, it just hits different. So that's what I like most about working for VeeFriends is it feels like we're doing something, more than just NFTs and collectibles and things. That's great. That's super awesome. But it feels like we're also making a difference in people's lives and stuff, which is cool. It doesn't take a lot of work. It just takes some communication, and Gary changes people's lives at those meet and greets and stuff just by like listening to them, talking to them, hearing them. And these, sometimes people just need to be heard too. I think the choice in this comic will be like Cynical Cat down here saying like, keep his mouth shut. Like, now that I'm thinking about it, like almost like a choose your own adventure strip. Maybe we can do that for fun too with the community, where it's like, if I drew a strip live, where we didn't know what the next one was going to be, and we said to you like, here's your choice. 555 fan can smash the camera or not smash the camera. Like, what does he do? Should he apologize to his friends or should he keep his mouth shut? What should he do? And then, based on the votes that we get, I draw the next situation. That seems like a fun idea. Oops. Oh, what's going on with that? All right. Cynical Cat. I'm trying to think of like, when is cynicism ever healthy? I can't really think of anything. It's not. You have cynical friends. It's like, I guess it's grounding sometimes to have somebody that's like womp womp, but a little too much of it is a little bit negative, going into too negative territory. But sometimes cynical people can kind of see the truth quicker than you too, maybe. Sometimes, not all the time. Yeah, the comic that I'm doing right now, the question was, the comic that I'm drawing right now, was it planned ahead of time? Story, message, and character. Yeah. So how we do it, I'm going to show you, is we have this massive board of all the comics, and we've got a brainstorming board over here with all the different traits that we're talking about. So this is just for random brainstorms. And then if we zoom in all on the calendar days, and I don't want to get too, this was the Honest Honeybee week. So you can see how we get together as a parent teacher comic was on Sunday. So we have a whole calendar, kind of just giving you the behind the scenes of, some of the notes are like not what happened, or the dialogue might change, It's based on, you know, boardroom of marketers. How about if we were honest? Like, that was the one strip. Originally, it was honeybee missing a jar of honey. We changed that to a parent the last minute, and then we're on this week's strips. So we can see that you are here. Friends rally to help. This was yesterday's strip, written out. Originally, I had the wizard making money magically appear, and then we changed it to generous gerbil because it made sense. Didn't know what the name of the camera was going to be. I just called it the XYZ 65, and then we changed it to a hover camera. So I can't really, not going to go further than that except to zoom way out and show you that there's this massive board of things happening here. So there's definitely a lot of thinking that goes on behind the scenes from the time that it gets to here. If that makes sense. Not a whole lot of secrets on that board or anything like that, but it's definitely a mix of character development, topics. Yeah, Miro is awesome. So seems like everybody I talk to, when they see that I'm using Miro, they start using Miro. And I was the same way. I forget who. A friend of mine was using Miro, and I was like, that looks cool. That's how my brain thinks. So now I use Miro all the time. I should be like a Miro brand ambassador. I told Andy that, and he's like, hold on, maybe we can reach out to do a video on. I was like, oh, that's cool. I don't think about that. Like how we use Miro to make a comic strip, or how we're using Miro to change the world. Because that's not what we're, I'm not just drawing comic strips here. We're going to change the world for the better with VeeFriends. So Miro. It's MIRO. Not a paid endorsement, but they should pay us. Miro. I think you can get free account, I think. I use it for everything. I even use it for like personal life stuff. If I'm like trying to just figure out things, you can do all kinds of stuff on that board. Cool. I could talk about these things all day long. Project management, creative project management organization. It's my jam. I am gonna just draw a different head here, just because I don't want to keep with the same pose. Thanks for hanging out a little bit. Keep me company. Drawing comics can be kind of lonely sometimes. Just me and these characters hanging out all day. Which I got no complaints. I like it. I like it a lot. We're going to draw through there. These are going to be on a different layer. Yeah, I explained drawing the other day to someone else, and I said it like that. I was like, it's like molding. It's like kind of shaping the clay, which is also why a lot of artists, like on paper illustrators, are good with clay, especially when you start to learn in 3D. Like you're like learning what the different angles of things would look like. You're seeing it in your mind. and you're able to mold it with your hands. Same thing with 3D animation, I think. I've never messed with that stuff, but I've heard my 3D animation friends say the same thing. They're like, DJ, you'd be good at that. I'm like, I'm about comics, visual storytelling. How quickly can we tell a story in as few images as possible and get big points across quickly? And then, I'm all for animating it or making it look pretty and, prettier. But rapidly getting these ideas out, and character designs and stuff like that, that's the beauty of comics. I'll double check the text here. See that a lot. Tatiana over on Instagram. I think what's your name? Yeah. Are you the same Tatiana that's on TikTok too? Are you on both? Are you on Instagram and TikTok at the same time? Or there are two Tatianas right now? Team Tatiana. All the Tatianas are showing up. Okay, cool. Well, there's a Tatiana over on Instagram who said, I wish I had the talent for drawing. So give you something a little bit deeper here. If you mean it, if you really mean I wish, when you say I wish for something, I wish I could be this, I wish I could be that. I believe that the universe hears you. So if you really wish it, you believe it, then you got to just put some action into play, and then you would be able to draw. So if you really wish you were an artist, where you had the talent to draw, there are some really good books out there and YouTube videos. Drawing on the right side of the brain. I'm going to write it down real quick. Drawing. So if you ever are thinking about drawing on the right side. We're going to just look it up. Why am I doing this? I could just open up Amazon right now. We're going to do that too. We're going to do double. Talk about this for a second. Drawing on the right side of the brain. Let's go. While you're online, you can check out the VeeFriends website. We got all kinds we got over 280 characters. We got the card game. We got all kinds of stuff coming. Gary's got a children's book that you can pre-order right now that's coming out real soon. Minis, all that stuff. But let's go to Amazon. Amazon.com. Drawing on the right side. The reason I'm putting this up because I can't remember the author's name, but she's pretty amazing. Betty Edwards. Drawing on the right side of the brain. And it's a course completely. $15. You do every step in that book, and I swear there's so many before and after pictures of that. Let's do that. Drawing on the right side of the brain, before, after. So do before, after, you go images. There's people that when they started, their art looked like that. And then by the time they were done with that book, their art was portraits. So the first thing you do is draw. Look at that. Look at that. That is crazy. I've seen so many artists do this. I've never done it because I know how to draw, but at times I've seen artists that said like, I do not know how to draw, and then they improve their art by doing these steps. It just teaches your brain. This kind of looks like Gary. Is this Gary? No, it's not Gary, but it could be. It could be Gary there. I look like a little Gary. Wow, I just like looking at these now because like the improvement in art from stick figures from not knowing how to draw to like drawing. This book is pretty fantastic for that. So drawing on the right side of the brain shows you exactly how your brain works. It's a little tough to get through sometimes, but if you really want it, there it is. That's how to do it. But be careful what you wish for. Careful how you wish for. I bet so many. Uncle Ricky says, I bet so many are peeved that they spent so much money on these NFTs. Well, that's a topic. I know on the flip side, I know so many people that are elated to have theirs, but there's like Gary said, like what 99% of the projects went to zero or whatever, but you got to have story behind it. You got to be building like the VeeFriends is a little bit different. So even if it's not like what you thought when you invested or whatever, I don't know, collected something. So the collectible market is like that across the board, you know. But VeeFriends is a little bit different, I think. Heck, I remember when people bought Death of Superman and DC Comics was like, he's back now. It's like, I don't know, you know, like, I really hope people will love the characters as we're building them more and more and more, because you're going to see it's already kind of happening, and there's other things going on. We're just getting started, really, even though this has been around a couple of years. But I have no doubts that one of these days, real soon, maybe in just a couple years, you're going to be like, remember I remember watching that guy, or I remember Gary working on this, doing the first drawings of those characters, you know, like you can't say that about Disney or something like that. It really is different. VeeFriends is a little bit different than the other things because there's a different heart behind it, for sure. You know, how is it possible that VeeFriends only has 3 viewers? TikTok is up to something. I don't know. We're live on all the channels right now, so like a lot of the TikTok or a lot of the VeeFriends community that exists are on X or on Twitter. So we have 424 watching live right now, and I'd say the majority are on X. That's just kind of where the community is. So TikTok's more of a, got 3 people watching on Instagram right now. It kind of it ebbs and flows. It went up to 23. People kind of jump in and out. So I think being on live on TikTok isn't really to build a community. It's more about brand awareness and discovery. Instagram, same thing. Like people are following us, but they pop in, they watch a little bit, they jump out. These are things I watch I watch the numbers. I have to do a little stream report afterwards and just kind of see like what's going on, like what kind of conversations are we having where and like what. And we really kind of dive deep into that stuff. Of all the channels where we get the most people watching more, like spending more time, would be YouTube. So average view duration on our YouTube channel streams, even though there's less people watching on YouTube right now, they stay for 13 to 15 minutes watching a stream compared to 30 seconds or 48 seconds on Instagram or TikTok is like milliseconds sometimes. People pop in and pop out. But TikTok shows your brand to a lot more people. So it's a different speed as well. TikTok, for the most part, it's very hyper. I'm trying to think of words that don't sound mean. So I mean in the nicest way, but it's a very fast-paced. When we think about the platforms, I'm constantly thinking about when I was at VidCon the 1 year, VidCon, not VCon, and they had all these. TikTok was a sponsor of VidCon that year, and they had these top TikTok people down for a signing, and there was nobody in line. And the thought of the strategy behind everything was, well, on TikTok, you might remember a piece of content that you watched vaguely, but you don't remember the usernames. So when I would challenge my friends, I'd be like, name me 5 TikTok influencers right now, 5 TikTok channels, give me their addresses, and they couldn't remember because it's so fast paced. You don't get much brand affinity or brand awareness. You get content awareness, but that mostly helps TikTok and not the creators. So something interesting to think about. I think about this stuff a lot because I'm a creator and I talk to a lot of other artists. Instagram's a little bit better, but it's not a great discovery. Meta makes it very hard. It's usually a lot of pay to play, and once you've paid once, they want you to pay forever. So if it were 100% up to me, I'd be all in on YouTube for creators out there. But it doesn't hurt to be, with these tools that we have, to be live everywhere. Why not? You know? But YouTube is it's getting better and better, and it's not going anywhere. Everything else kind of has changed. But you get the best of both worlds with YouTube and your content, because you're going to get discovered based on interest. So if someone's watching cartoon streams or drawing streams, they're probably going to get served this video, and they're probably an artist, which could be bad or good for the brand. It's like, do we really want, well, of course we want artists to watch. We want anyone to watch. But is it our target demographic? I don't know. Maybe it's a segment, but we don't want our entire channel algorithm to change because of that. That's something you got to think about on YouTube. But it happens so quickly on TikTok. You could literally search chiropractors on TikTok, and then suddenly your whole For You changes in like instantly. Yeah. And that's the problem, right? If people pop in and pop out, pop in and pop out, pop in and pop out, that's all we're going to get. But if people pop in and stay for half an hour on TikTok, then that's what TikTok ultimately wants. TikTok wants you to stay. They want people to stay on the platform for longer periods of time. I talked to some engineers from YouTube and Meta at VidSummit, um, and had a very candid conversation about, because you want to get the secrets, you want to get the dirt, you want to, hey, tell me the real deal, right? And they can't tell you everything. They give you the basics. But the conversation that I was in, they said no one's talking about session time. And session time is your session time and my session time. So, like, here I am, I'm going to be on TikTok for 2 hours. I'm here for 90 minutes already. It's going to congratulate me when I turn off the TikTok live. It's going to say, congratulations, you were online more than most creators like you. Right? And it really rewards you for that, like a little bit behind the scenes. But what it really wants is it wants more people to watch me longer. So that's the YouTube game for sure, is an Instagram. Meta is how long did I make you stay on the platform without leaving, without surfing around, without leaving the stream, without leaving the platform. So, and then on the flip side, social media managers at agencies and companies don't think about this because they're just trying to like fly through and get their content posted and scheduled, and they're not there live much, or they're popping in and out. They're opening the app and they're there for 5 minutes. But I was told that this magic number was like 15 minutes. Like, that's a huge thing. It was sort of like a magic number at the time. This was 2 years ago now that I had this conversation, but they're like, if we could, what makes someone stay on Instagram without turning off the app for 15 minutes? And all of these things are tracking what you're doing there. Like, that's why your Apple phone can say, like, how was your productivity today? You were in this app. These apps are considered productivity apps, and these apps are social media. Oh my gosh, you spent this much time on social media compared to your productivity apps and things like that. Like, that's what they're really tracking, because the more you're on, the more ads they can show you, the more money they make. That's what it boils down to, right? But for a creator, you got to just use it as, that's the way the world works. We're trying to build community, trying to build people to know the brand. So you got to be here as much as possible for as long as possible. That's the game. Boy, I just ranted about content. Wait for it over on X. Ask, what program am I using? This is an iPad Pro, and I'm using Procreate. And that's just Procreate. I think you buy Procreate once. And there you go. Attention, Tatiana over on Instagram said attention is today's currency. And, the big boss has a book coming out, Attention Economy, right? Mm-hmm. And that's not going to change. Like, that's going to be for a long time. If they ban TikTok, well, all the attention's going to go somewhere, right? So be there as well. I know so many creators who put all their eggs in one basket and then they don't even know how to use the other basket. There's like more than like they could jump to another platform, but they don't really know the ins and outs of that platform. And that's a problem. So a lot of my TikTok friends are freaking out right now because it's money on the table for them. that's going to go away. They're already taking kind of a hit with things. People don't want to go on TikTok sometimes because of things that they read or hear, and then that hurt them. And I've got my own personal opinion about it. I just go, like I said, I don't think that TikTok is the move for building a giant brand because I don't feel like there's enough brand in it. I feel like TikTok, but you don't know the username, right? Who's the guy that draws on subways on TikTok? What's his actual username? I can't tell you. I know the guy, talk to the guy, and I don't know his username. It's sad. Like, people don't think about that on the surface of it, but you want to be where everybody knows your name. Cheers. Am I excited about the new iPads coming out next month? I'll check them out. I think this one's the M2 iPad, so I've kept this iPad for 3 years. I think I bought it during the pandemic. I think I was like a little treat to myself, upgrading my iPad, and this is the M1. So these are really iPads are the bomb for drawing. Cintiqs and Wacom tablets and other digital devices, like they have drivers that go bad, and then you turn them on one day and your stuff's not working. But the iPad's never let me down. Love it. Love it. So yeah, I'll check them out. Really, I've got so much stuff that fits this one that I'd be nervous to switch up. But I'll definitely check it out. It would be nice to have just like a one that I just only picked up for VeeFriends, and not because I have all my artwork on this for like everything. So like a dedicated VeeFriends iPad. That seems like what a luxury. Like normal people don't do that. Like make VeeFriends this is the VeeFriends iPad. That would be kind of ridiculous. I won't do that. I know they would buy me an iPad if I wanted one. I like to buy my own stuff. And keeping sharp, keeping sharp on paper is important as well. It's really drawing. Really. At least to me. Hi, Clarence, over on Facebook. Looks like you're on Facebook. Where can I get your brushes, DJ? I have some brushes available at Draw or Die.co. I don't like to plug myself on the stream, but I'm gonna, because you asked. So draw.co, I've got sketchbooks in there. We got the comic pencil and ink brushes, and then over on gumroad.com. believe if you go to Gumroad, you go to Discover. If you were to type in ultimate comic template, ultimate comic template and brushes, that comes up. That's my brush pack. And also my comic book template for. So it's got brushes, whatever, that's like $5. But there's a ton you could buy. There's all kinds of other templates on there too. But mine are awesome. So if you want them, $5 over there. I gotta upgrade those a little bit. They're good, but I now have this new set of 4 brushes or 5 brushes. And these are the only 5 brushes that I use for VeeFriends. I only use the pencil brush, the ink brush, and the gouache brush. I only use 3 brushes for all of VeeFriends. Because I always tell my art friends, like, don't spend. I just identify the problems that I had, and I'm like, I know that they must be having these problems too, because I would spend so much BS time on looking at brushes and is this the perfect inking brush? Is this, and I would be like, I'm not drawing anything because I'm spending so much stupid time looking at these brushes and hundreds and thousands of brushes on my iPad, and I'm not getting to the work. So when I finally found the ones I liked, I just leaned into them. And same thing with art reference. If you're an artist and you're like, I gotta look up reference for this thing, and then you'll spend like an hour looking at reference and not actually drawing, and I hate that as well. At some point you just gotta do the damn thing. That's what we say. So, just do the damn thing. I heard Ryan Holiday on his podcast yesterday or the day before saying a thing, and I was like, man, it sounds so true, but it can also sound so mean to say it, especially to people that are just starting or wanting to be inspired. Because I was there too. Like, I would be like, what brushes are you using? What's the templates you're using? And Ryan said, like, that was like the marker of an amateur. Like, not in a bad way, not saying that in a bad way, but like, it's like, pros don't worry about that. You just grab a crayon and let's go. Like, whatever's in front of you, just gotta learn how to use it. Use what you got. And it's kind of what we're talking a little bit about in the comic this week. Is it a magical camera that makes your artwork better or your stuff better? No, not really. I know this too true because my wife will tell you it's a real story. But if I get gear envy, or I'm like, I gotta get that camera because it was marketed to me or something, and I get it and it just sits somewhere. Oh, look, I got it right here. I bought this camera actually. It's the 360 Go. It's pretty neat. It like pops out and does all kinds of, like, this thing comes out. True story. Magnet. You could clip it on your hat. You could do all kinds of cool stuff with it. But what it does is it just sits on my desk over here. But I thought, for my YouTube channel, well, I'm going to get it for B-roll, and I'm going to have it for this and that. So definitely this storyline is inspired by real life stuff that I've talked to my friends about too. So because I do want to use that camera, that's why it's on my desk. Like, I just don't have the use right now for what I'm doing with it. But I know what I want to do with it. I want to get more B-roll as I'm working. And I was disappointed with that camera, by the way, because I thought I could use it as a camera, like plug it in and be seen in OBS. as a camera, and it was like, nope, can't be seen as a camera. And I'm like, that's the lamest camera ever then. Because even my iPhone, I'm using the iPhone camera here into OBS. Oh. Speak a different language now. Speaking creator language, I guess. Mystic says, I got my glasses to read the fine print. You got glasses. What I do is I take a picture of the fine print and then I zoom in on the picture. Has anyone done that? I'm like, this fine print is way more than 6-point type. Like, this is like 4 3-point type action going on this fine print. It's like beyond squinting. And I know that I'm doing it. Other people are doing it. It's like human. So I'm like, all right. I like the idea of Cynical Cat's name just kind of being above his head like I did with the other one. So I'm going to just kind of put it in here. Cynical. Jumble it. I'm going to spend too much time with noodling around, but I've heard of Heathcliff. Heathcliff was kind of like the lame version of Garfield, right? Old Heathcliff. I don't even know if I. Oh. Heathcliff. Thought I might have had a little book. I'll jump back here. It's probably still in my car. I don't know. I bought a little Heathcliff book that I found at a thrift store. I just bought it. It was like real cheap. I like the formatting in it. I was like, oh, this is how they took their comic strips and put it into like a little paperback book. Still got a new slew of people watching. And if you're familiar with VeeFriends, what's up? Tell me what your favorite VeeFriend is and why. What do you like about the VeeFriends? Been live for an hour, 50 minutes. We're gonna go a little bit longer. I'm gonna check my messages real quick, make sure. Okay. Just quickly check my messages, make sure I'm not missing anything. Make sure I'm not accidentally going over my. Okay. I'm gonna go for a little bit longer here. And go back to my chats. Hey, Mystic, thanks for stopping in, man. Appreciate it. I need the max. Says I still need a V friend. Well, I would just say, like, what's your favorite V friend? Like, you don't have to own them yet, but if you had one, if you were to pick one, which one and why? Um, Tatiana said, "Do you inspire your characters from real life people because some of them look like Gary?" I think that might. I don't know. I didn't design the version 2 NFTs, but I'm kind of getting the vibe that sometimes they have a little bit of an expression that looks maybe a little bit like Gary. Sometimes, just like the vibe. You know what I mean? So Tatiana, if you're seeing it, I'm basically, whenever I'm drawing the characters, I'm drawing them based on, sort of based on the version 2, what you see on the trading cards and the NFTs. Um, and the style will evolve with those things too. So the version 2 will always look like version 2. But the comic strip might be a little bit different because we got to bend them around a little bit, change them up. Same thing for animation. Like the Moonbug versions will look a little bit different. Can't show you those, but I'll tell you right now, they look a little bit different. But it's still the characters, you know. Like Spider-Man or anything. That's what Gary says. Different artists, different things, mediums. He likes to use Daredevil a lot. Like when Daredevil first came out, it was a yellow costume, and then it changed to red, and then of course there was a black version of the costume, and you know, then there's the different artists that draw the characters, and they look different styles. You know, it's cool to see what styles pop and what, you know, what people want to collect. And what works for animation might not work for comics or movies or something like that. So, you know, I fully, you know, I expect, this is DJ talking here. I'm not saying anything that I know or anything, but I fully expect like a live action VeeFriends. You know, we're gonna get there. We're. I mean, I can't imagine that we wouldn't have a live action VeeFriends movie or something in the future. I'm just dreaming right now. I don't know nothing. It's my goal to help make that happen for sure. Especially the comic that I wrote, the comic book that I wrote. I think it's perfect for. That's how I always approach, you know, comics, comic books, adventures. I want it to be like, this could be a movie, this could be, and even if it's not, the book itself is good. So you're like, wow, this should be a movie. This is a really good story. You know, comic strips are a little bit different. You know, we're just having uh, having fun or touching on topics with a comic strip, right? You know, Garfield hates Mondays, but Garfield's not the Garfield movie, right? And Garfield's a good example of that. That's actually a great example of that. The new Garfield movie's coming out pretty soon, I think. Garfield will always sound like Bill Murray to me, just how it is. I know they got Chris Pratt, I think, now to be the voice of Garfield, but sorry. I'm a Bill Murray Garfield guy for life. Bill Murray Garfield for life. Switch this camera view up. VeeFriends minis make great pencil drummers for your iPad. And also will make you mess up your brushes over on the side. So don't do that too much. Right. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make some balloons. Who's up to answer some questions for me real quick if you're listening? I got some questions. I'm going to poll you guys real quick. Is there a way for anyone to audition for voiceovers of the cartoon coming up? I think that's kind of all a done deal right now. You know, we have to work so far in advance, and Moonbug has a team and all that. So, unfortunately, not. But I wouldn't give up, you know, just whatever. If you have a voice in mind for a character, have fun with it. So yeah, I've got a couple things to talk about. I'm just curious, like the community, you're watching the stream. There's a couple people watching. New people start to join at this time too, because now we're getting the West Coast people, 7:30 in the morning out there. Good morning, everybody. I'm drawing the daily comic strip here. A lot of people get ready for work, pop it on for a minute. So if I got your attention and I'm listening, you're listening right now, I have a couple of things to ask you. I'm just curious of what you think. So, is this time frame good? That's the question number one. Do you like watching it in the mornings, the streams? Or would you prefer it at night? Like 8 o'clock at night or something like that? Curious there, number one. So put it in the chats. Let me know. I'm gonna scoop it up and look at all your feedback. And then number two with that question would be, you know, say sound on. Sound on. So I'm asking questions here. Sound on. Do you like the time frame of when we're putting the comic out or the live streams? So I go 8:30 in the morning Eastern time and I stay on for a couple hours. Zeta says it's her preferred time. I enjoy watching and listening to it while I work. Your comments help. So it helps me make plans. I want to know if you'd like a nighttime stream. I'm not committing to anything, I'm just saying. And then would you want it to be every day? Like if you just knew that I was live every day, is every other day okay? Monday, Wednesday, Friday? Or would you be like, wow, that's pretty awesome that he's live Monday through Friday? You know, every morning, you know, you could check in and hang. Would that be something that would do something for you to know that that was like a live, like news show almost, like something you tune into every day? Would you do that? Curious if anybody's listening. Type in the chat and let me know. Zen says, I love morning streams while sipping my coffee, enjoying your talent. Thank you, my friend. It's over on YouTube. So again, if you're listening, sound on. Sound on, just for a moment. I'm asking questions. Need your help. Looking for your feedback as we have 535 people listening or watching over on X. I know a lot of them are watching with the sound off, so sound on for a minute. Are you good with, would you want these streams to be more often and longer? Because honestly, you know, I'm thinking about how do I expand them? What's interesting for you? Would you tune in? How long would you tune in? Like, you know, I'm just wondering what you're doing in your life to pop on the stream. Some people say they're getting ready for their while they're working. Some people are just tuning in. I enjoy popping in a few times, so either works for me. So like you pop in and out of the day, like, oh, checking back in to see where it is, where the strip is, that kind of thing. Because I know people can't just, you know, keep a stream on forever. But you might think, like, I wonder how that strip turned out. Because if we're going to get into like longer streams, like 5-hour streams or something like that. That's very interesting to me to think about. I'd say these past few months of doing this and testing and getting used to the schedule and drawing the characters and our flow behind the scenes, I'm kind of feeling pretty good about going live more often and longer. But I'll tell you right now, my dog won't be happy about that, because sometimes I have a session where I sit with my dog and I just draw for a couple hours, and she likes to sit. Can't do that in this position that I'm in right now. She's over there and she's not happy. But I also don't know if I'm things I don't know is like, could I talk about something that's important enough for 5 hours? I don't know. It's going to be very stream of consciousness. We could talk about anything you want to talk about while I'm drawing. Mostly when I'm inking and coloring, because that's not mindless, but I know what's going to be here. So, yep, Tatiana, you're right. When Gary Vee launches his book, so many more people are going to be live streaming now more than ever. I'm screenshotting you guys' comments, so I'm putting them in my own little document so that I can say, hey, Steph over on YouTube says mornings are always good. We do a 7 a.m. drawing stream in my drawing club, so, you know. And for me, this is my job, so, you know, I'm kind of already here doing this. Now, there's times where I need to, like, not be here doing this. I need to kind of get away from the desk, because writing and, you know, thinking up things and dreaming up things takes, I gotta not split my concentration there. But once we have a whole batch of things to work on, it's basically just turn it on and go, you know. But I want it to be valuable to you as well. I don't want it to be just like watch DJ from a distance. Like, I've done that with Gary's streams where he's just in his office and I'm just like, wow, what's going on? Like, what's going on? You know, and it's basically just him in meetings with the sound off, and then I'm listening to Gary's content, which is fun to do. Or, you know, I must admit, sometimes I would look at the stream and be like, hey, Where's Andy? Is he in with Gary right now? And I just turn on the stream and be like, oh, he's in with Gary. All right, cool. No problem. Someone else said that internally too. They're like, look, they're looking for someone, and they're like, oh, he's in with Gary. How many hours do I normally work every day? Well, a lot. Let me think. Well, our normal working hour, that doesn't answer the question. Our normal working hours at VeeFriends is supposed to be 9 to 6. That is not my schedule because, I'm usually starting the comic up around 8 a.m., working on some comic stuff, and then I'll go till 6, 7. I do break up my day a little bit. There's some meetings and stuff, and some other things that happen. Take a couple walks, my dog, but yeah, it's a normal 8-hour work day though, if I'm really doing it right. 8 to 10 hours. Strip takes, on average, 4 to 5 hours for a daily strip. Now, these last couple strips, I've put more characters in them. So if I look here, how I know this is I can go in and I can look at yesterday's strip. And if I'm spending too much time messing around with redrawing, I can go to Canvas. I can go Canvas information, statistics, and this one was 5 hours, 26 minutes, minus 10 minutes because I think the template is about 10 minutes. So about 5 hours and 10 minutes total on today's comic strip. Because I drew the characters every time. I drew 3 characters, and then at the last panel, I actually threw in a couple more ideas there. So, Zen Taylor, thanks for the feedback there. That's awesome. Appreciate that. I was asking the question earlier, guys, if you Abdullah, I don't know what's going on with the election. I don't care. In the nicest way possible. Right, pop it in a few days in the morning. All right, cool. Yeah, I wouldn't say that I'm a workaholic though. Someone's like workaholic, and I'm like, my wife would say I'm kind of a workaholic, but not in a bad way. I think it's like, if you enjoy what you're doing, and this is a lot of work, don't get me wrong, like this is a lot of work, for sure. But it doesn't feel like work sometimes because I'm just enjoying it so much. So I'm lucky. Not lucky. I don't like the word lucky, but I feel very fortunate to be in this position, to have something that I enjoy doing be my full-time job. And I hope that you find something like that too, because it's the bomb. Okay, back to the making pretty good progress on this one. What time is it? 10:42. Let's just keep going. I try not to pay attention to how many people are. Someone was like, there's only 4 people watching on TikTok. 3 people watching on TikTok. But all day long, there's just people coming in and out of TikTok. Odd Danny just joined. Hello, Odd Danny. What's up? A couple people asking to join the lives. I don't do that because it's not really conversational as far as like, I got to draw. So I can't really paid too much attention to having like live guests on or anything like that yet, or maybe ever. It's not that kind of show. It's more of a passive thing, kind of. Even though I'm talking, you know. Yeah, but I think with anything creative too, you got to kind of just go with the flow. So if you got to go with the flow. So if it's the nighttime, hey man, this is so chill and calm. Thank you. I'm glad. Sometimes I get fired up about things, but not a whole lot. Um, a lot of people popping in and out over on Instagram right now. I feel like we've hit right around 10:44 a.m. Eastern time. We're hitting the time that people are getting ready out on the West Coast. They're getting ready for their jobs, so they're jumping on, looking through social media. They don't quite want to get to work yet. One lady, Amanda, she listens to us in the drive of the car or on her commute. She just kind of listens. I'm like, oh, that's neat. So I try to say something. I can't promise I'll ever say anything smart, but try to answer your questions. And if there's topics you have on your mind you want to talk about that aren't negative or getting people stirred up, like we want to talk, VeeFriends, we want to talk about these traits and this week we're talking about making content and does the tools make you a better content maker, or is it basically about putting the time in? So we're focused on that topic this week a little bit, but also we can intertwine the topics of honesty and being honest with your friends and feeling embarrassed and being very human things that we're dealing with VeeFriends. Cynical cat. Don't be a cynical cat. Good morning over on TikTok. Leanne, thanks for joining the stream. Also, I hear a lot lately when I'm talking to people about social media, not just the internal team, but like my friends. I have friends that are social media managers. I got friends that are corporate stuff. And we need to remove how we, like me and you, use things and talk about in a broader macro. Like how we use TikTok might not be how a 50-year-old uses TikTok, or how how a 20-something-year-old uses TikTok versus how someone my age uses TikTok. I'm 48. And I can't get this line right. Wow. Come on, man. You got it. Good enough. Or if I say, I wouldn't buy that, or something's too expensive for me, but realizing like you have to remove those biases, your own personal bias, because there is somebody out there that would buy that thing or use it in a different way. And so like keeping an open mind too. Hey Steph, we'll see you later. Good luck at work. We'll see you tomorrow. Ron, roster tattoo, I am using Procreate for sure. Love Procreate. Oh, turn off the lines real quick. And now I'm just kind of closing in these balloons. Something I've been doing differently. It takes a little. I'm getting faster with it, but we've been chopping the comic up a little bit differently for Instagram and whatnot, where 4 panels becomes kind of 10 slides. I mean, you might have seen it. So one of the key things I got to do on this end of drawing it is make sure that the balloons are on their own layer. And in order to do that, I have to, draw the balloons on their own layer. And make sure the lines are a little straight there. White, white, white. And then I'm just going to fill them with white. Continue filling. Oops, that one's not closed somewhere. If you don't close it, it's right up there. It's not closed right there. If you don't close it, the white escapes. Then boom, boom, boom. When holding those lines, just hold the pencil there for a second. It will smooth them out automatically, so you don't have to redraw. Yeah, quick lines are good when you're drawing like speech balloons. So for organic speech balloons, I do it a little bit different, just because I want it to be a little bit different shape than like, for instance, you know what I'm talking about. You already know what I'm talking about, Ron, but to show the other people, like if I were to try to draw a balloon like this shape, it's gonna automatically turn it into like an oval all the time. So in order to achieve something like that, I need to kind of do the top line and then do the around line. So I use quick line all the time, but I also don't mind sometimes when it looks a little hand drawn, because it looks kind of like Snoopy or something. I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know. I used to do all my lettering in a vector program and use perfect balloons and stuff, but to some extent, it's kind of even faster to just ink it up. Also, I like that it keeps I tell my art friends in the drawing club, I say, it keeps you sharp. So I'll definitely hit a quick line there for straight lines. I usually hit that quick line tool. Pretty easy there. When I get to the coloring, I use the reference layer and that. It's fun. Yeah, I like that. I like that organic old school look. Everything gets too smooth in modern contemporary comics and things, and it just starts to look plastic and AI. And I was thinking about that last night. Like, how do I? I'm 48. I've been drawing for a little while, and listen, I know my art's not the best, but I'd say I'm pretty good cartoonist, and But my job, when I say like my job, I'm like, my job is to try to make comics even better. And if I had to describe my style, I think like I like the zine look. I like punk rock zines and stuff like that. And I think having a little bit of edge to your cartoons, I like that. I'm more of like a Bloom County guy than I am a smoothed out Garfield guy. that makes sense. And then I'm kind of just trying to be myself, you know? Like even like I would put the captions in there for Cynical Cat, and now I'm just like, I'm just gonna draw out Cynical Cat, and we'll fade those words out. It's also not normal in a comic strip to like constantly like say the character's names over again, but for VeeFriends, I mean, this is literally this cat's name, Cynical Cat. So we want people to know that an honest honeybee. He's not just bee, you know. So for now, at this stage, we want to get people to know the character names. It's a little bit different than other IPs, you know. So, but yeah, I am planning. Probably thinking about it a lot. But I'm going to plan on doing some longer sessions. You know, it would be like my goal to like sit down. Like one of the things I'm thinking about is, could I sit down in the morning if I have a plan, put on the camera at 8, and just draw the whole comic from start to finish, right? Because it's already written, sketched out, a little roughed. So I'm just inking it, doing all that for the first it takes 4.5, 5 hours to draw the dailies. And just kind of thinking like staying on until it's done. You know, I might have to walk away occasionally for like coffee or, you know, to let my dog out. I'm trying to figure that part out. How do other streamers like run to the bathroom real quick or something? I don't. Gary stayed on for what 12 hours the one day. And then I saw him in the office. I was in the office. I'm like, I sit down. I'm like, hey, what's up? So before this meeting started, he's like, what's up? And I'm like, man, you're a machine. He goes, yeah. He laughed because I was like, my question to him wasn't about, you know, I was like, how do you do it? And he's like, oh, it's just what I do. And I'm like, no, I mean, how do you not pee for 12 hours? And he laughed and he was like, well, you know, you gotta get, it's like, man, you gotta have some, you gotta get yourself ready, is what he said. How do you fine tune yourself for that? I used to go to Comic-Cons and run Comic-Con tables and art tables. And before I was married, I would just sit there all day, you know. My wife, when we first started dating, she came to the comic shows and she's like, so you never leave this table, you don't eat, you don't go to the bathroom, like you got to walk away. And I'm like, oh no, I'm good. At the end of the day, I go get a meal and whenever the show's over. But she's right, it's not logical to sit there all day and not leave your table. But so over time, it's a balance. It's a balance. I think people would be forgiving if I like threw down a piece of paper that said like "be right back" and I'm just getting coffee here. My poor dog. My poor dog doesn't understand this comic life. If you're not familiar with VeeFriends, well, I got good news for you. There's VeeFriends.com. You can go to Comic Corner now and see all the comics if you want. Got a nice archive going. All the comics are on there. We got over 280 characters. They all have good traits. Just go to F. Look up 555 fan. Here he is. If we click him, this is the version 2 version of him from the trading cards. You can see all the comics that he's in. I feel like he's in more comics than that. tags must be broken or something. I don't know. I'll check it out. You can also see the video of Gary drawing him for the first time. He's also available on merch. So if you want a 555 fan t-shirt, you can get those now on sweatshirts and, well, sweatshirt. It's not sweatshirt weather anymore, but you can be a 555 fan. Nice t-shirts. Of course, we got the digital collectibles, NFTs and things like that. You can also see like how many other owners there are of the digital collectibles. So you'd be in a club of 203 people if you found a Series 2 out there. Um, cool NFT backgrounds. And we're doing a lot of world building here. Oh, there's also a Discord. So you can join the VeeFriends Discord and get in there and chat it up with the other community there. So not a bad little. I always forget to reset the streams, I'm about, I don't know how much longer I'll be on today. I've been live for 2 hours, 26 minutes. Appreciate you guys joining and watching. Go through for some comments. I'm using Procreate app on iPad Pro. Somebody else said, like, you should have a frequently asked questions section. Because, like, I get asked a lot of the questions the same, and I just repeat them. But I'm like, well, that's part of a live stream. I'm pretty much aware that I'm going to get asked the same things. But I just, it doesn't hurt to engage with you. And I'm not going to be like, go read the fact. Go read that fact page. That's not a very nice stream. I'll talk about it over and over again. I don't care. I'm drawing on an iPad Pro, Procreate, every day for hours. I do have to change his eyes here so he's looking more at character. I don't want him smiling here. He's supposed to be more of like concerned mouth. Yeah, that thought's appealing to me, is just to be able to sit down and finish a full comic strip in one sitting, in one stream, without any kind of distractions about myself, if that makes sense. The balloons will be on their own layer there. I think it's possible, because if I were to go, 2.5 more hours, this would easily be done, the whole thing. Once it's at this stage, coloring is just a process, pretty much. The lettering is all done. Yeah. Anyways, the thought's appealing to me about doing that. And then I noodle around sometimes too, and I want to put books in here. He has to have some content books here. So, like probably old copy of Ask Gary V. Right. Let's do the YouTube formula. It's probably this way. What other good books would there be? So small you won't even see it. I'm not too worried about it. I'll put some words on a bookshelf there. Maybe he's got an advanced copy of Gary's book. Hey, Cowabunga Chan, how's it going, man? Non-stop comics here. I want to see something real quick. I did forget something. I have a request from Easy. Easy, if you're listening, we're going to do it live. Let's make it live. Let's do it. Promise. Special something something. We did this the other day. This one here. Your life, the decision you've been overthinking. And I think this post became the most shared post ever on VeeFriends. So we got another one. Just gonna fire that up. Let me just 1080 by 1350. Do I have that in here saved? 1080 by 1350. I don't. I'm just gonna go ahead and make a new one. 1080 by 1350, 300 DPI. No, we want. I'll keep it that. It's fine. Create that. So we got a circle graphic again. Sketch it out on this layer. Pencil tool. I'm gonna let Easy know I'm drawing this live. Hold on. Okay. It's an easy one. Just got caught up in other stuff. Let's see here. I got you, Easy. Let's go. We want our man 555 fan down here. Let's put him over here this time. Have him over here. Want them to be more like rough pencils instead of like full color. Move this whole thing up. Happiness you deserve across the top. Get a little quiet here, see, because when I'm writing or like doing the ideation of stuff, I can't really talk as much. That's all right. Some color on this too. In a minute. Thanks for sharing the post on Instagram and other social media too. Like when you see a VeeFriends post, if you dig VeeFriends, share it up. That's how other people find the brand, you know? You're helping spread the good vibes for VeeFriends. And we've heard about VeeFriends changing people's life. Even just people that first encounter VeeFriends, they're like, what is this? You know? You guys are told a story, you'll see it pretty soon, probably. Like it helped two sisters kind of like come together. That's coming up. They hadn't talked in a while or something like that. Or I'm gonna put some red on that too. Make it basic, but make it, cool. Tatiana on TikTok says, I was wondering behind the scenes how Gary imagined so many characters. Well, he's got a lot. I'm talking to Gary, like he's been thinking about these characters or like the topics for years, you know? Plus, I think just deep down, he always wanted to have his own, you know, Looney Tunes or Bugs Bunny or Disney. Like he wanted his own sort of universe. So it was always in there. And it's tough to talk. When I talk about Gary, I don't want to talk like we're kissing his butt. He doesn't need anybody to do that. But I'm going to tell you, I've been around a lot of creative people for a long time. And some people are just natural at storytelling. And Gary's one of those guys that's just natural storyteller. He knows he just has a lot of deep storytelling skills. And maybe he never even really thought that about himself until now. I mean, I'm sure now he knows. But like I've seen I've been on those Moonbug calls. I've seen other things where Gary just drops. He can really has a knack for getting to the core of the story. I love that. As a storyteller myself, and someone that's followed Gary for a long time, that helps me become a better storyteller, right? So, like when we talk about character development internally now, we kind of use Gary's. We a lot of there's a lot of other things going on before, but now we're thinking of it like at his best and at his worst. These characters at their best, at their worst, because it's a balance. It's all about balance. These traits have to work together. You can't just be a fan of something and not have humility or humbleness. You can't just be flexing all the time. You can't be just a flexing fox. You got to have some, you know. Let's just give him a nice, friendly look. We're gonna kind of make it look like a colored pencil drawing. So I'm okay with just keeping pencils here. See how it works at least. It worked with the duck one. So I'm gonna go hit some red, a brighter red. Happy Wednesday, Joe. Double check my calendar, just make sure I always feel like I'm missing something after I've gone long, but I'm not, so we're good. So we're just gonna keep drawing this. It's good. It's a little too dark, a little too bright. This to be underneath this. You see what I mean? We're just making it look like it's kind of like a colored pencil drawing on purpose. If I turn my pencil to the side like this and I actually shade it in, it works just like a real blending pencil. Pretty neat. Oh, that's too dark. Oops. I'll change my brush size a little bit. Go back over with the dark lines a little bit. Just because I didn't darken the lines enough on that face. He's got a different colored nose too, just a little bit of a... Back to the pencil lines. Just darken this up. Just to give it a real, like, pencil sketch. Sort of look. I used a gray instead of a black pencil there. So I just gotta just re-go over it a little bit. It's okay that it looks rough because that's kind of what we were going for. Just enough. Tatiana says, sometimes you struggle to create my own characters, like what traits they should have, good or bad. I don't know if I would think about... Sometimes the best bad guys don't know they're bad guys. Sometimes the best good people have, the flaws. So it's a balance, right? It's like the best characters come from story, and story has to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. So there should be a setup, some sort of conflict or escalation, and then a resolution, Just darken his hair color here. Give him a little bit more. Shading. Oh, I'm on the wrong layer. Darn it. Back to that. It's like working in virtual colored pencil, which is interesting to me. It's fun. There you go, easy. Getting there. And, I know it's a social post, so like we gotta give it a little bit more. It could be that this whole thing was red. I like the red like that, but let's just put a little bit of, like, yeah, just a little bit of blue there, like really super light blue. Try that. And then we can go outside of the lines a little bit, because like on purpose, just because it's like it's supposed to look like a sketch that someone drew up for you real fast to kind of explain a situation or something. Oops. Come on, man. Darken this in just a little bit. Put a little more black on it, just a little. The center of the lettering. Thank goodness I did all those coffee menu signs when I was 19. Do really quick hand lettering. It's really easy to use a font too, but something about the hand drawn look kind of pops off right now. I'm just going to spend a little more time darkening this up. I wasn't really expecting to use gray up there. I probably shouldn't have, but it's okay. I can just throw a little black in there just to darken those up so that they, you want it to pop on social. Black on white. Use those colors that get attention: red, yellow. Now Ezra was already saying it. Red can also mean passion and alert in marketing. Not always stop and go. Like it can be like passion and fire, love too, like a deep passion. And I'm going to keep that. I'm going to keep those faded lines there. And I'm just going to kind of outline it a little bit more. And I think for the comic strips, I'm just looking at the color wheel when I'm doing like the background colors for the strip. Want the characters to kind of pop off, or they're very subtle background animation or images. I'm gonna erase a little bit of that. Just a little bit. My eraser brush is huge. I want it to be small so I can get in here and clean up these lines a little bit between. It's okay that it looks a little hand drawn. I'm not too worried about that. There we go. It's not too bad. Let's take a look on the. I might even just make this. Just curious if I can. Kerning, letting and kerning in between the lettering and or tracking and kerning. We can even go distort. Just to fill it up a little bit more. and then all of it. Kind of just bump it down a little bit. Whoops, nope. Not like that. Uniform. Kind of look at the other one we did. Put them side by side too, just to see. Circle's a little bit bigger. I'm not too worried about it. We might just center this in a little bit closer just so it looks good on the grid or whatever. Just a little bit, tucking it in. Ain't bad. All right, done. So now I could just go, I think I should be able to just go like this. Let's see. If I go share and I go JPEG, if I go copy, I'm going to try and paste this right to you at Ezra. Oh, it worked. Although don't use that one. Don't use that one. Wait, maybe that is the one to use. Let me save it out properly. Don't use that. Delete that. I think it kind of changed the color format. I don't want that. I'm gonna share this JPEG. We'll just gonna airdrop it over my computer. That's how the sausage is made. I just want to see, make sure that the color profile is pretty good. It's faded a little bit. That's good. All right. Happiness. Might even just take this into Photoshop real quick. Just because, you know, I'm being a stickler now, I'm just going to up the saturation a little bit. Just image adjustment. Image. Saturation. Oh, yeah. That's the stuff. I'll send both to you so you can see. Ezra. Getting there. One sec. Accidentally saved that one in a different folder. There's not much of a difference. I bumped it up a little bit, saturation wise. It's good. Like the first one. When zoomed out, I can see that the red pops more. All right, cool. Anyways, here we are doing VeeFriends work on. I'm not sure if that was the most exciting thing to watch, but who cares? Got it. Got it. Check it off the checklist, the to-do list. It's going to be posted on our Instagram in 20 minutes, Ezra said. He asked me the other day, and I was like, yeah, I'll do that. And I put it on a little chart over here, and I was like, oh, wait. Totally forgot. I would have got to it when I was going through it. But. All right, cool. I think that's today's stream. I'm going to go take a break, and thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for watching over on all the channels. Cheers to you. See you back here Friday, 8:30 in the morning. And this is the VeeFriends Daily Comic Strip. I hope you share it. Thanks again for watching. And don't forget, you can read all the comics on VeeFriends.com now. Up here in the comic corner, click comic corner. You can see all of the VeeFriends. How fun that one came out. All the VeeFriends archives are on here. And you know, who knows what you might find on the website. There could be all kinds of fun things on there. There is. So check it out. We'll see you guys soon.